What is happening to me?
Have I done something wrong?
Why is this happening to me?
I think when I first started to hear voices, I was 17. I dismissed it back then and pretended they weren't there. At 21, the voices were so loud, I couldn't ignore them anymore. I felt scared whenever I was alone. They were shouting, screaming, making me feel overwhelmed.
I have been drinking pretty heavily for the past 6 years. Everything became a reason to drink. A birthday party, a job promotion, a bad day at work, or just silly little conversations that I misunderstood. There was no difference between happy and sad. I lost my partner, then my job, and I had to move out because I couldn't afford rent anymore. At that point, I started feeling hopeless, and I was thinking that my whole life was done.
After I had my first manic episode and learned that there could be others to come, I wondered what I could expect from myself. Whether I could still keep a job or not, commit to raising a child, or just get on a plane and go on a holiday ever again. I questioned the littlest decisions. I felt scared and hopeless and thought I needed to severely restrict my life in order to protect myself.
The first step in my journey to understand what was happening to me was clumsy and improvised.
I started to read books and internet articles, forums about other people who had faced the same thing. And I just felt very overwhelmed in the beginning, wondering how I would ever be able to understand everything.
I went on to ask people around me if they also felt like this sometimes. I took part in meetings where people shared similar experiences.
I related to pieces of their stories and looked back at mine, identifying similar events or moments.
And it looked like I was undertaking a research over my own life.
I realized that things I initially could not connect to my current personality structure and emotional difficulties are actually quite relevant.
The frequent violence and abuse in my family,
Losing my father in a car accident,
my parents getting divorced when I was 9 and being bullied at school.
reading online and listening to other people's stories helped me to a certain point.
but I realized that we are so different that I needed to dig into the intricate web of my own story to understand how I particularly fit into the world.
At that point, I started my own psychotherapy process, and with the help of my therapist, I navigated through my own biography.
And little by little, I started to understand the details of who I was and how I became the person that I am now.
My therapist was a great support, guiding me when and where to dig deeper and how to interpret or give meaning to the things I found out about myself. But the process was quite heavy and emotional.
The most challenging part was not being able to get the whole story at once, but instead having to patiently write every single page of my book, session by session in therapy and day by day in my private reflections. I realized there are moments in the past I would assign quite a different meaning now, looking back with different information and life experience than I did when experiencing them.
More often than not, I was quite difficult to navigate through my memories.
I wish my therapist told me the exact reason that I felt or acted in a certain way. But the truth is that they can't.
I am the only one who could look into myself and give meaning to what I am experiencing.
At the start of this process, I just wanted to overcome the struggles I dealt with. But I learned so much about my character, my personal resources, and the values that guided me.
I understood that there is so much more about me than the difficulties that I was and I'm still facing.
Having a mental health difficulty is not a sentence for life. It does not dictate what I can and cannot do from now on.
My dreams and life goals, they still matter.
What I need to do is a bit of testing in order to discover what I am able to achieve.
The voices are a part of me that I acknowledge. I don't push them away anymore. But I am also aware about other parts that make me a complete person. Since I started to feel more at peace with myself and my past, the voices began to quiet down, with even some funny ones appearing.
When I need to make an important decision about my life, I always ask myself, is this something I want to do or someone I want to be?
Have I been able to do similar things in the past? Is this something I can experiment with and see if it suits me?
I know now that understanding myself is an ongoing, lifelong process, and that there are a few things I can conclude for sure in this point.